Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dishing with Stephanie's Dish. This is a Minnesota Maker edition, which are always extra special to me because it's how I got started in the podcast space. And I'm here with Jonna Rosbach, and she is the founder of Mixley, which is we'll call it a cocktail concentrate. Is that what you would call it, Jonna?
I think you could. I mean, we still refer to it as a mixer, but it certainly is more concentrated than typically what you find on shelf.
And what it is this delicious, fruit forward mixer that you can mix with mocktails. You can have it in a cocktail. You can have it with sparkling wine. You can just have it with, soda pop, really. If you wanted to have it with 7 Up, it would be equally delicious. What made you think that, like, this was a place in the market that there was a hole that you could fill with this product?
So there was a couple things. I think the first area was well we started the journey when we set out to, wanted to do our own business, and we love the idea of cocktails. Me and my business partners, we love cocktails and just kind of the fuss of making a great cocktail. And then we went to the shelf to see, curious what are mixers like these days.
Yeah,
And we were shocked to see, oh my gosh,
it was
there's
bad.
bad, really bad. Bad ingredients, bad branding, bad flavors, same old flavors. And so we were just really excited. One, I think just let's clean up the ingredient deck. Like we all know in every other beverage category, we've evolved. So step one. Two, let's bring exciting flavors, like what you would want to see at a craft, at a great bar, getting a craft cocktail. And then I think third, I was pregnant at the time. The kind of sober curious NA movement was just coming, so like let's make this versatile, let's make this for everyone, so whether you're drinking or you're not, you can really make it your way. And you're not, no one's having to feel left out, if they're not drinking alcohol.
I think a lot of products too thought that they were going to deliver on that message, but then kind of few did
Mhm.
because if you weren't having them with alcohol, some of them didn't have the flavor punch. Others, if you were drinking them strictly as a mocktail, they were a little too much. Like you guys really seem to hit the right balance. So go through your flavor profile because you've been pretty consistent too.
Yeah, it's really about a balanced cocktail. So you're going to have, you want the balance of the sweetness. So obviously, or tartness, right? So the fruit, whether like the strawberry, pomegranate, you're going to have some of that tartness. We want to balance that then with a honey. So we used a honey in our simple syrup base. And that is really just going to create a more balanced sweetness versus cane sugar can be really intense. And then the benefit to a lot of people do, prefer honey as a sweetener these days over cane sugar. And then acid. So obviously it's lemon or lime in all of our flavors. And that acidity is not only part of a great cocktail or can be part of a great cocktail, but also for us, that is what acts as our kind of natural stabilizer, right? So we are shelf stable, but because we, lean into some of those, to the using fresh lime and lemon, it allows us to be shelf stable longer without having to add preservatives. So I think it's right. It's like the sweetness or tartness, and then a really good acid. And then we do have a lot of bring in a lot of earthy flavors as well. So we have like the pineapple basil lime. So we're adding in, the freshness of the basil or the mint, cucumber mint lime has that, really refreshing element. And same thing too, like one of my favorites we just launched as part of our spritz line is the elderflower mint. And that again, it's floral, it's refreshing with the mint. Yeah. So it's really all about, yeah, that combo to create a nice balanced cocktail.
So I'm talking with co-founder at Mixley, Jonna Rosbach, and you mentioned that you have this spritz line. It is a new, we'll call it an extension. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And why
Yep.
did you rebrand it and make it somewhat different looking than the traditional Mixley line? I was curious what the thought process was there.
We were really inspired by the Italian coast. And I know that's so cheesy, but we love this. Like everyone loves the spritz cocktail. It's such a great summer, sipper. And we felt too that this was not only do we want to, jump into the spritz scene with our Mixley take, and it was a fun, truly, like Megan, my business partner, who's our designer, is just so creative, wanted to have fun and see, how a kind of different branding would do. But I think it's also just, it's an interesting test for us of how does a mixer that's for a single type of cocktail do versus the versatility message we've had with Mixley, where you can make it with rum or tequila or vodka. Like, how does that resonate with consumers when it's like really easy? It's a spritz, you mix it with sparkling wine, and there you go. So we wanted to distinguish it a bit, have fun with it, and then also it's just interesting to see, yeah, how it performs.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because clearly to me, that seems like people that have a marketing background that are doing sort of A/B testing, that are really as interested in the brand packaging and the messaging as the actual love of the cocktail itself. So, what
Mhm.
was your background and your business partner's background getting here? Because it seems sort of packaged goods focused.
You are correct. Great punch. Yes. So my background is all CPG marketing, came up through the agency world and then spent years in corporate marketing at, two different big food CPG firms. And Megan, my business partner, the same. So yes, we have that background. Her background's design. My background is more the marketing communication. So some ways that's very helpful. In some ways, you have to take everything that you learned in your big CPG world and forget that you learned it because it doesn't apply when you're.
Yeah, that's really interesting too, because I think that's one of the, if I'm talking with people that are manufacturing products or talking about products and that's their background, I usually do tell them that. And you also don't have the depth of staff or even the depth of resources or time. So
Mhm.
you have to kind of move a lot faster than people are comfortable with.
Yeah, move faster. And I think even as you think about like the marketing tactics, things that we would do, it's like it's so different when you already have brand awareness and distribution. Yeah, we made a lot of mistakes early on. I was like, oh, that lesson, that thing I thought I did really well, like that does not apply to Mixley to what we're doing. So
What's an
yeah.
example of that?
um, I would say for example, okay, spending on influencers, right? Everyone wants to spend on influencers. And I'm not to say that's wrong. However, it is a very different game when you don't have on shelf presence. Also, if you're just going to do, and true, if you're truly going to invest in D2C, you have to do it right. So if you're having influencers drive to your website, you really have to be focused. And I think when we launched, we were trying to do too much. We were doing retail and a little D2C. So your spend in a tactic like influencer marketing is really not going to go far in the stage we were at. And that's where we learned to focus and prioritize early on. We went heavy into retail, and that's what we did. So influencers at our stage of the game don't make sense. What makes sense is in-store tastings. So that's where if I'm going to spend $100, I'm better spending it on a brand ambassador doing an in-store tasting versus a Instagram post.
Yeah. And I think too, maybe you can speak to this. I feel like the influencer world is changing and we're discovering that real influence is hard to come by
Mhm.
and isn't always with the person with the 100,000 followers in a marketplace. Like that maybe those micro influencers and doing an event or something that's different might have actual more influence than the gal that has, 50,000 followers and holds something up and her pretty smile, just for lack of a better way of saying that. But do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're all become very savvy. I think we're very now we look at anyone who posts on, and again, it's not putting anyone down, but we do look at that. I think we're all skeptical, or we know now they're getting paid to say that. That's not, it doesn't feel authentic anymore. And I think too, I think you're right in where the real influence is. And I will say influence in as it relates to purchase for us has been in-store tastings, has been local media. So partners like you, and whenever, we get the opportunity to be on local media or do an interview, we see a direct correlation between that and sales. Events are also critical for us. Not only, and obviously you're in front of the consumer, but people word of mouth, like, oh, I saw someone, they just told me to come down here. Like, these are really powerful tools that, maybe to a sophisticated digital marketer, like they may seem outdated, but they're tried and true. And for us right now, they work.
Well, and you and I kind of, I mean, originally I think we met just through the cocktails and packaged goods and Minnesota makers, but then you come to the Stone Arch Festival, you come to a lot of these festivals that I program, and I try to explain to these packaged good culinary folks, and a lot of them are local and many Minnesota or Midwest made. You look at those events as an opportunity to sample, to trial, and create brand awareness. So, yes, selling your product there is awesome. And if you can get a return on your investment, that's great. That's what everybody strives for. But that it's also a big marketing opportunity to get in front of so many people. And we see a lot of people that come to these events with their packages or their items and they don't sample. I'm like, ooh, wow, that is like, you need to sample. Well, we just don't want to give product away to the looky-loos. It's like, well, those looky-loos are also purchasers. You have to see them as the consumer that they are, even though they're standing there with holding their kid's hand who's eating a sweaty popsicle and holding a beer. They still shop too.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. And a lot of these events, one, I will tell you, like, because we have, 7, 8 different flavors. I love when people are like, "Can I try one of each one?" I'm like, "Please,"
Yeah.
because then, like, I'm gonna upsell you on my bundle package. No, but I do think too, like some of these events, we'll hear, well, I don't want to carry around glass right now. Do you have a card I can take with you? Like, where can I find you? And I really do believe that these people, they're taking a picture of our booth or they're taking our card. It was a great interaction. They may not buy us now, but I think we're top of mind. And when they see us, on shelf at France 44, like hopefully that's when they purchase. So
I was thinking about you guys recently because it seems natural with the launch of the Spritz line that you might consider canned cocktails down the road. Is that something you're thinking about? Or I was even thinking about, we're seeing now like Tattersall just launched a bunch of cocktails in I call it a slap bag for lack of a better term. It just is the party girl in me. But the sort of canned, you miss the can, you miss the bottle, and it's just in this plastic thing that has a handle that you can carry around. You can put it on the boat. Are any of those packaging options something you guys might look at down the road or getting into the full canned cocktail?
I think so. I think packaging for sure. You look at other brands, mixer brands like Filthy, and right, they're in that bag. And it's really great for if you think about expansion into on-premise and airlines. So I think for sure, packaging we would look at. In terms of ready to drink cocktails in a can, the market's so saturated right now that I could see it maybe one day we've scaled and we're in thousands of doors, retailers nationwide, and people want to see that from Mixley. But at this point, I think it would just be too expensive to try to stand out in the noise, but
I think
would never
that's really
rule it out.
smart. Yeah, I think that's really smart actually. And also there is so many cool packaging options. Like if you think of the Capri Sun size, or even if you think of the small canned, not cans, box, small box like wine, I could just see that being a cool packaging idea for you. And also one of the things I love is you do have this rainbow sort of branding. And when you put all of the line together in a packaging item, it really feels like you're getting a lot. I think you have is it $45 for your, do you call it your Pride package?
Rainbow package, yeah. But
Okay.
this month we'll call it Pride.
Yeah, and I always think of it as Pride because I
Yeah,
have a gay daughter. So when I hear rainbow, like I
yeah,
think, oh, gay
yeah,
right away.
yep,
I thought that was a really clever way to market that because it gave you an opportunity to try all of them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the jury's probably still out because the Spritz line is new, but so far, are you having fun with it? Does it feel like it was a good risk to take?
Yeah, we are. We're having fun with it. We already flew through our first batch, like what we produced. So that's great.
Yep.
So we're on track to like what we projected it to do for us, which is awesome. And we launched it primarily as, an event in kind of online product. We are in some boot and some shelves here in the Twin Cities, but we just wanted to kind of see again, like how can we do this as a test and do a smaller kind of more, smaller launch, and then we'll see from there if it sticks with us for the long term.
I do love the idea of being able to have that on an airline as you're going on a trip. Like I know Sun Country has had a good relationship with Crooked Water Spirits and our friend Heather Manley, but like I could see a spritzy kind of version of that
Mhm.
and really covering all those warm weather destinations. And well, that would be so fun, wouldn't it?
Yes, from your lips to God's ears, right? So, no, I agree. And that's certainly, I think we know we can produce in 4-ounce bottles. We have that capability. And so obviously glass isn't ideal for airlines. So back to your, the packaging conversation, that's something that we're looking at, and how do we break into that market? Because I agree. I think we've all been on a plane and wanting a good cocktail, and your mixers are pretty limited. It's, a Coke, a Sprite,
Yep.
whatever they got, or a Bloody Mary. But yeah,
All right. So if anybody's listening, because we have a lot of fans, the Sun Country route, that would be great. And you could mix it with, they like to support local female driven companies. So that's exciting. So talk about, you mentioned one of the spritzes is sort of an elderflower profile. What's the other one? It's orange, right?
bitter orange cherry. So that's really, reminiscent of Aperol spritz. So yeah, it's again, it's another well balanced mixer. And it really is just like this delightful summer sipper. And you can mix it. You don't need to add sparkling wine. You can just add, soda water,
Yep.
and it still works. So yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you, are there any products or like packaged goods that you're using or seeing lately that you're just like, and doesn't it necessarily have to be food, that you're like, oh, I just love this product. It's so clever.
Um, Oh, the olive oil, um
The green bottle?
yes. What is that?
Yes.
Um
Grazi, is it called?
Rose, yes. I mean, the branding, the packaging, the storytelling of the Spanish olive oil, it actually tastes good. Like it is, I'm obsessed. And that's another one too, where I thought once I saw it, I go, yes, another category that has really yet to evolve, and more in packaging, right? Like I'm sure all, the olive oil is, and not all created equal, but just in terms of the design, I was
Yeah.
like, this is so exciting.
And it feels super fresh and like you have to try it.
Yeah.
Because everybody buys olive oil, but there is something about that product. And I actually haven't purchased it yet because I'm like the person who would be like, oh, that's just a marketing gimmick. You can, because I'm just like, because I'm cooking all the time.
Yes.
But I do think it's super clever. And also, when we look at, who's coming back into the kitchen and learning to cook, it's a lot of millennials and date nights, and kind of there's a more fun factor. And I
Yeah.
think that olive oil has hit that right on the head. So that's a really good one. I hadn't thought about that before. Um, in town, are you doing anything fun, or do you have any restaurants that you love, or what do you do for fun?
Oh my. Well, we, I will say this for fun. I've got kiddos, so we're up Minnetonka. Maynard's is like our standard. So if anyone from Maynard's is listening, I've been trying to get like Mixley on the menu. I'm like, I would love to enjoy my own mixer while I'm out here, but that's,
Sure.
I feel like it just feels like that's the summer place out my
Yep.
way. But I did just eat at Starling
Oh, did you love
last week.
it?
I loved it. I mean, the food was great and the cocktails were fabulous. What was so interesting is they had um some like cranberry Red Bull based cocktails, which I have not had. Talk about party days, vodka Red Bulls.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since I've had that. But anyway, it was on their cocktail list, and surprisingly, it was really, really quite delicious.
Okay,
Um,
I might have to check that out because it sounds a little weird. I'm like, okay,
doesn't
Red
it?
Bill, all right.
All right. I know, on this beautiful elevated space, we have Red Bull on the menu. I have to try it. So, yeah.
I still feel like whenever we get something on the like west of St. Louis Park, I live in Golden Valley, so we're still building out kind of the scene on the west side. And there's always been a good kind of late culture party scene, but and maybe like we don't, maybe it's not even fine dining, but just getting something that's a step above the chains feels so welcome and so right on right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I mean, so even like an Excelsior ley line, that's just been such a really nice addition
Yep.
to the Excelsior food scene.
Pink
Again,
Ivy and Hopkins is another
yes,
one.
Pink Ivy and Hopkins, fabulous,
Yeah.
amazing cocktails. And I will say too, excellent food. And the value for what you get there is incredible. I love that space. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. It's fun to see. And I'm excited for the new Grocer's Table sister restaurant next door. I think that'll be fun. And
Yeah, no, same. And I just can't believe, like, I'm so excited. Lindsay has done so well with Grocer's Table. I'm excited for her to expand. Every time I go in that place, it is just buzzing. So I'm sure she's going to do a great job, yeah, with the dinner concept.
yeah, I think so too. Well, it's been super fun to catch up with you. I saw the spritz and I thought, oh, I can't wait to talk to her about them and why she did it the way she did it and what her thinking is. And I knew you'd have some really insightful thoughts about it. And I'm excited to try it too. I haven't tried it yet, but I promise I will.
Okay, well, I think I can hook you up if you need if
I'm
you
gonna
need help
see
with
you
it.
guys soon. So,
Yes.
all
Well,
right.
thank you, Stephanie. I
Yeah, it's
appreciate it.
always fun to have you on.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Bye.